Welcome to Buckeyes Tomorrow Morning for Wednesday, May 21st. I'm your host, Tom Orr. The Texas game in 101 days, the game against Michigan in 192 days. If you're planning your next event, make it unforgettable with Grateful Griddle, Columbus's favorite food truck, serving up smash burgers, gourmet sandwiches, and good vibes. Book your catering today at GratefulGriddleOH.com. Joined by Tony Gerdeman of BuckeyeHuddle.com. Tony, there is transfer portal news for the Buckeyes. Ryan Day, it felt like he wanted to add another scholarship quarterback to this year's Ohio State team. He always talks about 4 as sort of being the magic number for him and his program, and they have done it. I will admit, this was not a name that I had right at the top of my board, but they have, in fact, added a 4th quarterback for this year.
Tom, you did not have Houston Christian's Eli Brickhandler on your quarterback hot board of transfers. That's a pretty big miss by you not to have Eli Brickhandler there. Yeah, that was kind of a surprise for everybody, but they got their 4th quarterback, and he is a rising redshirt junior, so he'll have 2 years of eligibility left. Kind of a backup part-time starter last year. I believe he started a couple games, including a win over ranked McNeese State, 24th ranked McNeese State, where he completed 7 of 20 passes for a season-high 159 yards, Tom, and also 22 carries for a season-high 138 yards rushing in the win there. So a guy who has been basically a career 50% passer wherever he's been, and he started out at, last year he was at Houston Christian, spent the first 2 years at North Carolina A&T, and now has made the sensible jump up to Ohio State football.
Yeah, what a traditional career path from North Carolina A&T to Houston Christian, which, if you're wondering, I haven't heard of that. It used to be Houston Baptist. That's the one where their stadium is located right next to a CVS pharmacy, where you can, from the stadium, see a CVS pharmacy outside. That's also the school where they had a mass transfer of their offensive coordinator and essentially their whole offense from Houston Baptist to Western Kentucky, probably 4 or 5 years ago at this point. So it's a school you've probably heard of, but Houston Christian has not been its name for very long. So, I think, first of all, let's set what this means. Is he going to be competing for the starting job this year? No, he probably will not be competing for the starting job, but he is going to be on scholarship. This is very much, to me, about filling out the roster. They have 3 scholarships quarterbacks before him, obviously, Julian Sayin, Lincoln Kienholz, Tavien St. Clair. They also have Mason Maggs on the roster. His position is currently listed as undefined on the official Ohio State roster because he started as a quarterback and then he played 1 snap as a running back last year, sort of helping fill out the running back room. They have a pretty deep running back room this year, so I would assume he's back with the quarterbacks. This, to me, feels like a move that's going to have a lot more impact on practice days rather than on game days.
Yeah, and that's the key, where you're looking for the guy that can be that scout team quarterback who has the ability to be both a passer and a runner. So it gives you some pliability in terms of, this week we're facing a guy who runs more. Well, we've got that guy that can do that. Or this week we're facing a guy who can throw more, and we've got that. And they also have that in Tavien St. Clair as well, a true freshman, should he be part of that mix as well. But here you've got an experienced guy who can do a little bit of both and is not looking to be the starting quarterback at Ohio State. And when we've talked about Ohio State adding a 4th quarterback, it's always with that in mind. It's they want somebody who is experienced, an upperclassman, and Eli is going into his 4th year, somebody with starting experience, and he's played quite a bit, and he's got, I think, a couple of starts, and somebody who has not really a desire to start at Ohio State. And it's not a wide group of a wide population of quarterbacks to choose from. And that's why in the past they've, Gunnar Hoke and Tristan Gebbia and Chris Chuganoff, where they kind of understood their role, knowing that they could still play, and they did. Here, this is a little bit different because this is somebody who has not really ever been the guy. So I think, as I'm looking at it and I'm scrolling his social media and trying to figure out who this guy is, you start to get to the idea is, I wonder if he wants to get into coaching, because this would be a pretty good path to do so.
Yeah, and you got to remember, that was what Tristan Gebbia's path to Ohio State was. He came to Ohio State from Oregon State, and in this case, he really fits, Eli Brickhandler really fits kind of the model of the Tristan Gebbia or of the now I'm blanking on it. You just said his name, from West Virginia. The one from
Chris
the backup and Chris Chuganoff. Thank you very much. He had a really funny nickname, and it was involving drinking, and I can't remember, and it wasn't drinks, it was chugs. There we go. Okay, Chris Chuganoff, where Chuganoff had started a few games at West Virginia. Tristan Gebbia had started a few games at Oregon State. And now you've got Eli Brickhandler, who started a game last year against McNeese State, but also played, 12 for 18 for 107 yards and a touchdown against Indiana State last year. And had games where he got some extended run. That Indiana State game, much the same, 12 carries, 70 yards and a touchdown on the ground. So, this is someone who he's going to bring a veteran presence. He's probably been on the scout team before. He's probably, played a role in practice before. That's what they really need here, is just another guy, because you need your starter and your backup, which is going to be Julian Sayin and Lincoln Kienholz in some order. You need those guys to be able to focus on getting ready for the game, being ready to play, or being one snap away from playing. And Tavien St. Clair, we don't want Tavien St. Clair running the scout team this year. You want Tavien St. Clair focused on getting Tavien St. Clair as ready as he can be to play this year, because we have, normally you're probably looking at a true freshman and going, we'll see you next year. If you're the third guy, we have seen seasons where Ohio State has needed that third guy, so you've got to have that third guy ready just in case. Yep.
And it's Tavien St. Clair being the guy that has tons of potential, and as the season goes on, he's only going to get better and better. So the quarterback that he is now is not the quarterback that he's going to be later in the season, should something happen. But I think this is just, it rounds things out, and you get somebody, it's terrible to say, like, with no aspirations. Like, he's playing he's a quarterback at Ohio State. He's got aspirations, but he understands his role. And I think that is the biggest thing here. You get somebody that understands his role. And also you get somebody that doesn't bother anybody else. They're not bringing in somebody to be a starter, and you've got Julian Sayin and Lincoln Kienholz looking like, what's Carson Beck doing here? Like, that's not what this is. So it gives them the opportunity to continue to just build the room and keep it basically the way it has been for years now. Yeah, so this is another one you can kind of cross off the shopping list for Ohio State. They brought in Bo Atkinson, the defensive end transfer from North Carolina following the spring. This is another one that they sort of had on their shopping list, and so you can cross that off. We'll see if this is the last portal edition or not. Portal is closed, but there are still plenty of players in there that you could potentially add. And with the roster limit this year being mumble, voice trails off because they don't actually know yet, that is all still a little bit TBD. So we'll be talking about that, and we'll be talking about a bunch of other stuff, all at BuckeyeHuddle.com. We have a very fun and active community on the Huddle board presented by Jeff Ruby's Columbus. That is our members-only board. It has been a very active board over the last month or so, as we have added some teammates there, Berm and Andrew Ellis, plus our whole team of X's and O's gurus. Mark and Kevin just got back from the Southern Swing trip, so they've had weeks and weeks of great recruiting content, and there's more stuff still to come on the YouTube channel, as they have more interviews and shows and all that kind of stuff still to come. There's a ton going on right now at BuckeyeHuddle.com, and of course at YouTube.com/BuckeyeHuddle. That will do it for today. Thank you guys all for joining us. Have a great day. We'll talk to you tomorrow.